All right. Welcome back to the Real Estate Locker Room Show, folks. I'm your host, John Carney, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us here in the locker room. And we're going to be talking about the real estate game with Minesh Bhindi. He's joining us from the UK. Welcome to the locker room, Minesh.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Thanks, John, for having me.
Yeah, thanks for staying up late and joining us here. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. You're in London, the UK, and we can talk about the differences in real estate and can't wait to hear your success story. But really quick, I do like to tell all of our return listeners how super stoked and grateful we are for them tuning in every couple weeks. You know, it's your support that makes this podcast successful. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate you spending some of it with us here on the locker room. If this is your first time tuning into the show, welcome. The goal here is to deliver actionable advice on how to elevate your real estate investing game today, to continue to raise the bar in your specific area of expertise in the real estate industry. Whether you're an investor or an industry pro, welcome to the show that believes that real estate is a team sport. And today's episode will be number 79 here with Minesh Bhindi. So let's kick off and charge into this. You know, I like to stretch out. You know, we're here to examine the intersection of competitive sports and competitive real estate, right? That's just the analogy I use, right? There's competition everywhere, but there's more to it than just being competitive. There's a team aspect and sort of a trial by fire aspect, especially in this business.
I love that.
Can we warm up? I mean, are you a sports fan? Is there a sport you played growing up that you enjoy, or a sport or an athlete that you admire and you say, you know what, I want to take that drive and determination that he uses on the pitch and apply that to my life?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, growing up in the UK when I was a kid, you know, we love football, or what you guys wrongly call soccer. We used to like football. I sort of stopped following any particular sport, but I love the energy that comes with winning, you know, and I can admire that in anyone, any team, anywhere in the world, any athlete that just has that drive to win. So I love, you know, for example, Lewis Hamilton in the F1. I love Michael Jordan. Anyone can argue with me about, Kobe or LeBron, and I'm just like, look, let's just look at the numbers. There's no difference. You know, why are we even having this debate? The numbers that he's so far ahead on that there is not even worth having a debate on who's the best ball player. So things like that. I can't say I'm not a big sports fan, so I don't follow any particular sport all the time. But I love winners. I just love the energy of winning, and I love the attitude that comes with I don't give a damn what you think. You know, I'm just gonna win. And then, you know, what I love about winners is, like you said, it's a team sport, so they know how to inspire the people around them to allow the whole team to rise, and that's really inspiring to me.
I think it's super cool. I mean, and I've been blessed, really. I've been blessed because you mentioned three athletes, right? LeBron James, I saw him play in Cleveland, in Game 6 before they won a championship in 2016. And Lewis Hamilton, got to see him drive in Melbourne. And, my stint down in Australia really exposed me to motorsports and F1. And I think it's just such a super cool, it's just such a high end of performance. It's hard to explain if you're just into your standard American basketball, baseball, and football, but super cool. Well, all right. I mean, you've been in the real estate game since you were 16. And as opposed to me reading a bio, I'd love to just hear your success story. What drew you to this industry, and what's keeping you here, and what are you working on now?
Well, 16, So I started negotiating real estate at 16 years old, and how it happened was anyone's guess. It was just sort of a bunch of strokes of luck. My dad was negotiating real estate deals. I would listen to him negotiate. One day I was standing around and I was like, he got off the phone and I was like, that sounds easy. Anyone can do it. What are you talking about? I could do that. That's absolutely. I don't know why it sounds so complicated. And instead of telling me to go screw off, he said, "All right, well, show me." And that was undercover, low key, one of the biggest blessings of my life, right? Because he didn't put me down in that moment. And then also that was the first time I think I felt like my mouth wrote a check that my body couldn't cash, so to say, right? So then I had to spend time figuring out, like, what is a mortgage broker? What is a lawyer? Like, what is a developer? How do I contact developers? How do I speak to them? How do I structure deals? What are investors? What are they looking for? Et cetera, et cetera. So then I had to learn all of that. And then I just started negotiating deals. I think because I was 16 and I didn't have the fear of someone saying no to me, I would just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, this is what we're looking for. You want to sell some of those units that are sitting there doing nothing? How about we come to some sort of deal?" And very quickly, as you know, right? If you're willing to walk away from something, it sort of starts chasing you. So, and I wasn't like strategically trying to walk away from it. I really didn't care. Like it was, do we want to do this deal or not? And so they started falling into place, and I started doing deals. And then I did my first deal, and I got paid pretty much like as a commissioned deal negotiator with my dad. So I would only earn money based on what I did, what I accomplished, all the deals that I put through, and my commissions were exactly the same as anyone else's would have been. And then I did my own first deal when I was 18 years old, 3 units in one of the developments that we were selling. It was £1 million worth of property with a 68 grand cashback on the day of completion and $250,000 in equity. And that was really my first step into like my own real estate. Now we've transitioned more into using REITs. So yeah, the journey just keeps evolving,
That's super cool. I mean, because well, you said a lot of things there that I don't recall we've touched on. I mean, elaborate on this. The more you walk away from a deal, the more it seems to chase you. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about some stuff we have in the pipeline right now, and I'm like, yeah, there's a little gold nugget, 5 minutes into a conversation with someone who has been doing this as a career professionally for a long time. So, can we just expand on that little gem?
Yeah, I just found that the more the more deals that I had, the less attached I was to one particular one. And the less serious, quote unquote, that I took it, the more the other person wanted to play. And so it just became very easy to ask for something without the bullshit, without the going round and round in circles, and without sort of, like, hey, what do you think? Without the timidness of how most people negotiate. And just go, look, we can move this many units if you give us this deal, and that's what we need. And I think that just worked because it gave the developers uh, crystal clarity that we weren't screwing around. We knew our numbers. And if they could do it, they could do it. And if they couldn't do it, the next development they were working on, maybe they could do it on that one, So I think it's sort of the being able to walk away comes from not really giving a damn about one particular deal. So that's what it was for me. And I think that's very important. I think so many people get attached to one particular deal or the next deal that they're going to do. They think it's going to make or break them, and I mean, if I had thought like that at 16 years old, by 20, I would have been retired, right? So it's like, you just can't think of that. Every deal that you do is just, the one before the next one.
Great advice. So let's go let me just ask this. When you were working with developers, is there an off the plan model in the UK for developments? I mean, that's a big strategy in Australia, not so much where I live at the moment, but is that what you're talking about back then or something different?
Yeah, that is big, and that's how most developers operate. However, what I realized where the real leverage point was dealing with units that were built, sitting there, and for whatever reason not selling. And those units, didn't make sense with the numbers at the price that they wanted to sell at. However, if we could negotiate a discount by getting a leverage by saying we could take 20 units, for example, and get a discount, suddenly the deal made sense for investors and the mortgages and everything else. So I would really, I didn't really deal with any off-plan build stuff. I didn't deal with any, residential refurbishments. I didn't deal with any of that. My job was very simple: units lying around doing nothing, take them and sell them as fast as possible.
Cool. And then, so where have you gone? That we'll start at that's the beginning of the journey, and sort of maybe hit on where you ended up in the middle, and then well, let's touch on where you are now. You mentioned REITs. Is that international REITs? Is it UK, European based real estate trust, or is it any all over?
I like the US.
Okay, so you're here in the US. Is there a specific asset class that you're looking at on the commercial residential side?
No, I want it to be completely diversified. And simply the reason is unlike the UK, and this can happen in the UK, but unlike the UK, the US is so big that you could, for example, focus on a real estate investment trust that is investing in a city that's completely dependent on one company's factory being there for all the rental demand for the properties in that little city, right? And the problem with that is, if that one company's factory then shuts down, your entire real estate portfolio is screwed. So that's how most people, by the way, invest in physical real estate. When they go buy in a little area that they know or they've heard of, and they're not looking at the global risks, so to say, of just investing in that one particular area. Whereas what I like is I use REIT ETF, so I don't even go and look for particular individual REITs. I use a REIT ETF, which then allocates. So the REITs are obviously allocating, and they're managing those property developments in commercial space, malls, care homes, whatever it is, residentials. And then the REIT ETFs are taking my money and the 66 billion other dollars that are in there. So talk about leverage and negotiation, right? They're taking that money and giving it to the particular REITs that are performing well. So it's almost like you've got expert property managers on the REIT level that have to perform so that more money gets attracted into their fund. And then on top of that, you've got capital managers that are now assessing. It's like double assessments of the real estate performance. And the ETF managers want to make sure that they're getting the best performances. So they're only going to give the capital to the best performing REITs. And those guys want to make sure they're getting the best performances because they want the most amount of coming in from investors and institutional investors, which would be the REIT ETFs. So you've got a double layer of protection, and they all are focused on making you money because otherwise they'd lose money. I like that.
Let's peel back the onion a little bit for someone who has some money. I'll let you just say, I don't want to. I've got some cash on hand. I'm interested in the leverage at a REIT, right? And I'll let you to define. I'll leave it to you to define that. And here in a second, and say, so what are the steps to diversifying, being in real estate but not owning the bricks and mortars? How would a REIT benefit an investor as opposed to a multifamily syndication? I of course think those are popular because I'm really close with a lot of syndicators. I'm in the multifamily space, so I see a lot of that. But
they're really good.
I don't see a lot of what you're doing, and the whole goal and mission behind this podcast is to educate people on the diversification, especially individuals that want to be in the asset class of real estate, but don't have the time to start at the beginning, which is wholesaling, right? Or fixing and flipping, but they want the benefit of your knowledge and experience. So what are sort of the what's the path that leads to your front door?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I've got to highlight is what you said, which is very important, is that most people don't want to do the work that comes with real estate. They're doing it because they've been told that they have to, because that's the only way to potentially get the result. I think most people that are listening to me and you here actually genuinely want to, focus on the more important things in their life. They want to secure their freedoms. They want to have and protect the opportunities for themselves and their children to live the life that they want, and they want a good quality life. And then they've got the other, 12, 14 hours a day that they're spending on everything else going on in life. I don't think, a doctor wants to come home after a long day and then spend 8 hours a day looking for shitty properties, right? Like, I don't think that's the reality that most people want. And so in that scenario,
I agree with that. All the professionals out there that spend a lot, that love to do what they do, right?
Yes.
That's what they love to do, whether you're a doctor or an accountant or an artist, right? Or a musician. You want to build that skill set. But you do know that real estate is, people know it's a great vehicle. And
100%.
When you invest correctly, it bears fruit.
Which is why syndicators I love, right? Because there's only a few people in the world like me and you that are nutcase enough to actually enjoy this, right? We love doing this. So having a
gray hair, please highlight the gray hair. It's on my face now.
I haven't grown it yet, but I'm sure it would be gray if I did. So people should find syndicators if they want to get into, look, anything you want to get into, you've got to find people that are already doing it. And real estate is one of those things where there are options for people to do that, right? And by the way, I still believe that you've got to have some physical real estate. Absolutely. That's absolutely true. But not to the point where it starts screwing with your lifestyle. And that's the key difference between me and other people that say you personally have to become, 1,000 property controller of real estate. I don't think it depends on what your drive is, right? There are syndications out there that like what you guys do, right? That will allow people to gain access to that. Once you've done that, you might want to diversify real estate and have a instant diversification all over the US in one stock purchase, which means I can manage my entire real estate portfolio from my phone. My broker account application, my Charles Schwab application is on here. I can travel anywhere in the world and my properties travel with me. They're taken care of. I pay a 0.12% net expense ratio, which is the fee for them to do the work. I get a 3.29% net dividend yield, which of course would be higher when you look at single family homes. The other advantage of doing the REITs, if that's the direction that you want to go in, is that now we can use some of the cash flow strategies we have that the stock market makes available to us to now generate an extra 12% a year cash flow on top of that. So at this level, I'm getting my entire property portfolio completely diversified, managed by experts for a 0.12% fee per year. I'm getting a 3.29% net dividend yield instantly every single year. And on top of that, I'm now using my cash flow strategies to make an extra 12% a year on top of that. And I can walk around with my iPhone, and that's my real estate portfolio managed and taken care of for me. So, that's really the path to it. You've got to have a property yourself, right? You've got to have some brick and mortar. You then look at it and you go, right, what's my next objective? And then if you want to get into single family, et cetera, find someone that's doing it. Find someone that actually enjoys it, right? And partner with them. And then you want to take it in a different direction? You want to do REITs? You want to start looking at how do we use financial instruments? How do I get into the way that banks do it, hedge funds do it? That's when you look at REITs. So everything has a place. You just got to know what you want to do.
That's great advice. And I mean, and this is a great conversation. So do you offer a service that helps silence all the noise and allow investors to focus on an opportunity that's best suited for them? Do you have a framework around that?
Yeah, so we have our company, Perfect Portfolio. We work in the gold and silver space, the real estate space, and the stock market space. The real estate program, Property Profits for Life, is a very simple program. It's designed to teach someone that's got zero experience of investing like a hedge fund would, and take them from 0 to 100 on understanding and executing. However, the real benefit of what we do is we focus on how do we get results, right? It's more of a partnership than an investment training that you're getting. You pay 60% of our fee after we make you 50 grand in profit. So it's like we work with people that are serious. We only work with 155 new clients a year. But yeah, there is absolutely a way. Of course, we have a framework for teaching people how to do that. It's one of my greatest passions, is helping people understand that there is a better way of doing things.
Right. And you can have your career that you love. You can spend time with your family, build an additional stream of income to take the vacations that you want to take, or, tick off the items on your bucket list in a structured, methodical way, and at least carry your non-brick and mortar assets, which hopefully become the large portion of your net worth, around in your pocket. I love it. Sounds great.
Absolutely. You want complete freedom. Investing should not be complicated. Investing should not be complicated. And when you meet masters of real estate, for example, right? When I met those guys, it wasn't complicated. They were enjoying it, right? They knew what they were doing. They knew it like the back of their hand. It was just like breathing to them, right? And so if you've got an opportunity to partner with someone like that, like you, that's, has got a family lineage of making it work, why wouldn't you do that? Right? Same thing with us. If you got a chance of partnering someone that's been doing this now, I've been doing this teaching. I've been teaching and doing this for 14 years. We've got clients in 46 different countries. It's we know how to turn someone that has no experience in investing in REITs and turn them into a success. It's just what we do. We breathe it every single day. But the key
I
thing
love
is,
the enthusiasm too. And I mean, like, I do. It comes across that you genuinely love helping people be successful. And I think that it's
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
is there, I mean, but then with that, you've got the critics. And maybe I lived in Australia for too long. They'd say, mate, too good to be true, right? Blue sky opportunity.
Absolutely.
Blue sky opportunity. So, okay. We've got the basics down, right? There's an opportunity with a REIT. Do you mind just taking a second to define that? Please define it the way you would talk to a new investor, so that we're clear about, if you don't speak the language of the stock market, I don't speak it well enough to describe it the way you would. So if you wouldn't mind, just kind of give us the highlights.
Sure. So a REIT, the definition of a REIT is, well, the name is actually a real estate investment trust, right? And how it works is very, very simple. The stock market, there's a bunch of companies that are listed on the stock market, and their value is dependent on the assets that are held within that company. A REIT has a primary asset of real estate. And that company's job is to target particular real estate that they are, like, for example, commercial property in New York. And so their team will focus on commercial property in New York, and the value of that REIT will go up and down based on the value and the performance of that commercial property and the manager's ability to generate the cash flows and manage the books, et cetera, and then return dividends to investors. So in essence, a REIT is a company whose primary asset is real estate, and you get to buy into that company and allow it to go buy more real estate. That's how simple it is. And the difference is you get to do it with one click of a button from your phone.
I like it. Very simply and eloquently described. And you mentioned something that I love to put under the magnifying glass every time I hear it: management. I mean, and the key team player in anything you're doing in business relies on the strength of the managers that you recruit, hire, or invest in. In this case, you're investing in a management team. And, part of your due diligence before you part with your money is understanding, who the people are and what their experience is. So I believe that success leaves clues. And do you think that someone who's had I bring that up too with you, only because there've been so many stories of folks maybe starting in their college years here in America, right? They bought their first fixer upper and then moved into a duplex and turned that duplex into a multifamily, and on you go, right? But they have that experience at some point in their real estate investing career where they were fixing something in a house or doing something themselves, even though they didn't have the skills to get that tenant in or make somebody happy. And do you think that that's a benefit or not required when it comes to putting large sums of money into a REIT?
It's not required at all.
Not required. So there you go. You
No,
don't have
not
to,
required at all.
no time on the paintbrush or any other tool
In,
required.
in fact, it's better when people go, I don't know anything about real estate, but I know that I need to be in real estate, right? And one thing that you said, trusting the management team. What's better than trusting a management team that's managing $65 billion worth of wealth? And you get to partner with that for a fee of 0.12% a year that you're getting a dividend of 3.92% on anyway, right? Before you use the cash flow tools as well. I like, like you said, success leads clues. If there's $65 billion there, I'm pretty sure that that is a clue as to why that
That's
might
a
be a
clue.
good.
The
That might
$65
be a
billion clue. That could be
exactly,
the top.
So exactly. No, but you don't need any experience with REITs. You don't need to understand how property works. You don't need to understand the local area. You don't need to, be interested in doing valuations. You don't need to be interested in fixing properties up. You don't need to be interested in tenants. You don't need to be interested in mortgage brokers. You don't ever need to talk to a lawyer. You don't ever need to do anything related to that property. You set up a broker account, you wire your funds into that account, and you click a button.
And people would be advised to work with an expert like yourself.
You can obviously go work out how to use REITs yourself and REIT ETFs yourself. But again, for you, the question is, for me, when I speak to a client and they have that sort of, should I work with you or should I go figure it out myself? Sure, you should absolutely go figure it out yourself, because what we do isn't the information. The information is out there. I was taught this information by people that I really looked up to when I was young. The information is absolutely out there. What we specialize in is making sure you do it, right? That's why we have the deal that I like, the deal that I like to say, it's a results first deal. We get 60% of our fee after we make you 50 grand in profit. I don't know anyone else that does that and believes what they do to that extent, to be able to put that out there like that. And the key thing about what we do, we have a part of our program where once you become a client, you get a coaching call every single week live with us, and you never ever pay for that, and it never ever ends. We are with you every step of the way, no matter what's going on in the market. And we do that for all of our programs. We believe that once we have a relationship where, a client goes beyond, a payment. I believe that clients, and the real definition of a client, is somebody that's under your protection. And that's how we like to operate.
I love it. And I'm really happy that we're having this conversation. So, is there some, I always, as we kind of wind down, want to look, everyone's got a different, sort of routines, rituals, habits, whatever. Is there something that you found or that's turned into a practice that really helps you stay focused and be successful?
Transcendental meditation. That
Gotcha.
was the one thing that I was always interested in meditation, and then going and learning TM. Now, I've got to say, there is a part of the whole TM thing that makes you go, what the hell am I doing here? Which is the weird part, right? But what I had to do after the people that I spoke to, my mentors, I had to realize that, okay, every culture has their own way, or has their own rituals. So this might be their ritual. And I'm not talking about anything scary. You're not going to be doing anything crazy. But there is a part of it which feels slightly religious to me, right? And it lasts for 5 minutes and that's it. And then you move on, right? It's more so a chance for the TM instructor to give a thanks and a gratitude to their particular teacher. Once you get over that, you learn the TM technique and you go on for that for the rest of your life. And it's absolutely the best meditation technique that I have come across.
And you attribute results across the general well-being of your life to that?
Yeah, I mean, I started up early this morning. It's now 8:34 p.m. I will have after this three more interviews, and my energy is completely fine. I think it's fantastic. That and Cuban cigars.
That and Cuban cigars. Got it. Perfect. All right. Is there one pro tip that you can give to our listeners in the audience and viewers now in the audience to just achieve a little bit more? We're looking for that slight raise of the bar.
The edge. Everyone wants the edge, right? Like what's the damn edge? You know, in my experience, the edge comes with starting because most people are not even starting. So the only thing I can say to anyone that's looking, I'm not, because I don't know what everyone's particularly doing. You might be in single family, you might already be doing REITs, you might be in commercial. I don't know what you're doing. So I can't really tell you directly, okay, this is what's going to get you the edge in that particular field. But what I can say is that if you're sitting there and you're not doing anything, that's the problem. Reading 10, no one that I know that has become successful read 10 books and then suddenly overnight became a success. It didn't happen. No one that I know watched 17 hours of YouTube on a particular topic and then overnight became a success. That is the starting point. When you start, that's the starting point. So the quicker you can get to the starting point, the better it will be for you. So just get to the starting point, get on the field, as they say.
Yeah, man. Or get off the sidelines and get in the game.
That's right.
All right. Perfect. All right. Well, I mean, that wraps it up. Are there any parting words? Can you tell the audience if anyone's really interested in learning more about your business and reaching out to you, where can the audience find you? Are you on social or just on your website?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have some links to our trainings, right? So that they can that they can go and get. So definitely there. I am absolutely not a social media guy. You cannot follow me. I think that's kind of weird. You're not going to see what I'm doing with my dog on the weekend. Unfortunately, I'm very, very sorry about that. But we like to work with people that are ready to take things to the next level, ready to experience a certain level of more freedom in their life. And so that's what we do. So come check out the trainings, and the advice that I would give to you, to anyone who is listening to this, not knowing what direction to go in. What I've learned after 14 years is that people are generally pretty good when they trust their gut instinct. So if your gut instinct tells you, listen, I want to know more about what Minesh is doing, fine. Go on John's website, find the show notes, get to the links, etc., etc. If not, that's absolutely fine as well. It might just not be the right time. That's absolutely cool. So just trust your gut instinct. Most of the time I find, when people have this apprehension, like you said, right? Like it's too good to be true. And the truth is that, most of the time when people say these things, they're right. In any way that it may come around, it might just not be the right time for them. My strategy might not be the thing that they need. So whatever it is, it's fine. Just trust your gut instinct and act on that. I have complete faith in us as amazing humans to make sure that we know what's good for us.
Right on. Well, there you have it, folks. I truly hope that you picked up some actionable advice today from Minesh Bhindi joining us there in the evening in the UK. And, the links to your website, perfectportfolio.com, and the other links, that you have in store for our audience will be on the show notes. So make sure to check out the Real Estate Locker Room show on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And recently we're up on Spotify now and iHeartRadio. So if you're on those channels, thank you for tuning in there, and please leave us a review. The mission here is to help raise the bar for your real estate business. And as you know now, reviews are the currency online. We just had a big Airbnb discussion today. We run some Airbnb units and, reviews, guys. So the post-game report, show notes, and additional information related to the episode today with Minesh will be on our website. That's going to be johncarneyonline.com/podcast. This is episode number 79. remember to stay focused on your goals, everybody. Have fun, stay in the game. And until next week, work hard, play hard, raise the bar. And man, it was really, really good to meet you. And I'm looking forward to, checking back with you, at a future date. If you're ever in the USA or travels bringing to Cleveland, Ohio, chances are over the next few years, I'll be right here so we could hook up.
Thank you so much, man. Absolute pleasure.
All right. Have a great evening. Thank you.
All right. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.